I've been very impressed by this Terran player as of late. He's from South Korea. He's been playing the game at a high level for years, but recently, when I say recently, I mean like throughout 2025, he really has made a leap forward. Spawning right here with the blue SCVs, we're looking inside of the main base of Percival, and I think it's safe to say he is the Korean player who's improved the most so far in 2025. Now, I could have selected any series. He's been winning a lot as of late, but I could have selected any series, any opponent. I figured though, let's see how well he does against a previous world champion of StarCraft 2. With the red Zerg pieces, we're looking inside of the main base of Rogue, and Rogue's Zerg versus Terran is monstrous. So, I think across the board, this is an uphill battle for Percival still. But I've been impressed by the games that I have seen him play. Actually, quite a few of the European pro gamers were also talking about him at EWC, and they were saying that he actually has looked very strong as of late. You know how, like, at the absolute highest level, it sometimes feels like the skill level is... Well, it's obviously going up, but it's a little bit stagnant, right? When you look at the very best players, they're all improving slowly over time. Most of them are improving at somewhat of a similar rate. So what ends up happening is that players that are already really good are improving about as well as like a guy at like, I don't know, rank 15 or so. And you end up in a situation where the top 10 doesn't really change drastically over the years. But Percival has really stepped it up. I'm curious where Aligila currently ranks him as far as like his current global ranking goes. Apparently it puts him in the rank 36 on the planet at the moment. And I think about a year ago, he was probably closer to like rank 80 or so. Certainly somebody to look at. Yeah, so ever since he joined his team... Actually, he's left the team again. Okay, he joined a team called Little Fairy at the beginning of 2025. He seems to have taken a giant leap forward, and now he has left the team once again very recently. So, anyhow, let's see what he can do. So it's going to be a factory start. I haven't seen him play too much Terran versus Zerg, actually. I wonder if maybe he's a Cyclone man? That could explain the leap forward. Maybe he's a Cyclone guy, but I don't think so. In the few games I did see him play, I don't think he has been too Cyclone focused. Then again, when you're going up against Rogue, you will need every advantage you can get. So I think Rogue is a scary player because he is by no means a one-trick pony. Like, Rogue will play whatever he wants. I always bring this up whenever I talk about Rogue's strategies, but once upon a time, he was considered to be the best late-game player in the world. I'm thinking about, like, 2017 or so. And even though his late game was monstrous, he would non-stop go for all-ins. Like, he would just go for Nidus cheeses, roach rushes, the whole shebang. It almost seemed like he didn't want to play the late game, even though he was considered to be the best, just because he could just do it. And that's what makes Rogue such a scary player. He's not afraid to mix it up, even if he is considered to be extremely good at one point in a game in particular. So right now, for example, I've been very impressed by his late game Zerg versus Terran. That like mass Nidus, mass Overseer style is really good. But look, what do we have? We've got a 2-base lair. 2-base lair is weird. Very unpredictable, I think, across the board. And Percival will pick up on that right now too. You will see that the third hatchery is not at the ordinary time. As a matter of fact, the third command center is already done by the time that the third hatchery started. That is about the best case scenario for Terran. So this kind of shifts the way, though, that the early game dynamic works, right? Because usually it's very much so Terran trying to slow down the economy of the Zerg. But now I think it's up to Rogue to try and slow down the economy of the Terran. And how in the world do you do that? What is the plan? Are we playing Mutas? This is looking like a 2-base Spire opener. Yeah, it is. Really, Rogue? Alright, thank you for highlighting exactly what I was trying to say. Nobody plays 2-base Muta. So this is going to be Mutaling-bane. That was the golden strategy back in Wings of Liberty. It has had moments of popularity ever since, but it's never been the most popular strategy for like the last, I don't know, I want to say 5+ years. Honestly, more than that. Like, Serral won the World Cup back in 2018. And strategically... Oh, man. I don't think we want to dive in with the Hellions right now. Okay. I think strategically the game was already very refined at that point in time. Yeah, probably about like 2017 or so is when this strategy was still played quite a bit, but it's been a while. 2017 is like, what, 3 years ago? It's crazy, man. It's crazy how quick time flies. Banshee goes into the back of the main base. Gets a little bit of work done. Dude, every time I make that joke, as we have the Zerglings going in too. Ooh, this is a little bit lucky for Rogue. Although I don't think he's going to be able to get too much damage in. Yeah, 4 SCVs is not bad. Hellions still roasting, though. And this is so much better for Percival than I thought it was going to be. 17 workers. That's nuts for 4 Hellions and a Reaper? And then obviously the 1 Banshee in the main base, too? Okay. I was going to say, every time I make a stupid year joke, which... If you're unfamiliar, I basically have like 6 jokes that I like, and I repeat those in every single one of my videos. Anyways, every time I mention a year, there's always somebody in the comments section that's like, Lowko, when did you record this video? Because it's actually the year 2025. It's... Anyways, shout out to that guy. Shout out to you. Appreciate you. All right, second factory coming up. The Medivacs, though, are soon going to have a hard time moving out again. Because Rogue has grabbed map control. But he's grabbed map control with Mutalisks. And Mutalisks have many counters. Especially from Terran. Let's talk about it. So first off, we have the missile turret. We have the Marine. We have the Widow Mine. We have the Thor. We have the Cyclone. We have the Viking. We have the Ghost. We have... I'm probably forgetting a lot. Even Battlecruisers, honestly, are kind of good. There's a lot of counters. My point being is that Mutas are effectively paper planes, and they're very difficult to win the game with. Terran players are super good at defending their bases, generally, and you're always like 1 micro mistake away from this being an absolute disaster. Still though, if you micro everything well, we have seen the top level players be wildly successful with Mutalisks. It's just such a risky strat. That was a great little sequence over there. Only losing a single Muta, getting a whole lot of Marines. Okay. And then also a siege tank to boot. The main problem, right, is that it's an APM limitation. So if this was a MOBA and you could focus only on Mutalisks, yeah, sure. It is manageable to micro everything. But look. These tumors need to be spread. These bases all need to be injected. Everything still needs to be managed at the same time. If every player had 800 APM, Mutas would probably be the go-to. But because most of us are forced to deal with the limitations of the flesh, I know, gross, it is not so easily managed. All right, let's see. Rogue, by the way, by no means the fastest Zerg player out there. I think actually, as far as top-level Zergs go, Rogue is a little bit on the slower end of things. He will spike up to like 500s, but 500 APM that is, but oh, I love it. A little Thor drop as well. Look at Percival though, man. Percival is gaming. I'm telling you guys, Percival is really looking solid. I feel like a year ago he would have already been overwhelmed, but he's actually controlling this all very nicely. Widow Mines in strategic positions. He's building up the missile turret defense right now. Nice little drop, gets on out of there. He's performing like a top-level Terran here. Remember the name at the very least. I don't think anybody would be too surprised if Percival breaks into like the top 20 soon. The Thors are very scary here for Rogue. So the Javelin missiles deal splash damage. And Mutas, of course, have a tendency to clump up. Now, this is not just Mutas. We have Ling-Bane on the back of this as well. Rogue is going into the +2 flyer attack before the +2/+2 for the actual ground units, which is crazy. Look at those Mutalisks. All of them already very low. Drop as well in the far bottom right. I love this hit from Percival. What about intercepting the Banelings? I mean, it's a little bit awkward because all of his units are currently out in the middle of the map. This drop over here needs to get on out of there too. He does do a good job, but Rogue just going on the offense. First of all, it's like, hey, weren't we fighting in the middle of the map? And Rogue was like, nope, I'm just here to take your lunch money and then maybe roll some Banelings into your army later. Zerglings sneak into the main base too. You blink twice and... Or you blink once and like 30 SCVs end up going down. Okay, the Thors finally have caught up. Missile turret numbers are big, but I've got a feeling that this more than justifies the Mutalisk losses. 29 SCVs is difficult to recover from. Then again, there is a 5th command center coming up. Then again, of course, we have mules. With 4 CCs, you can replenish your economy quite quickly. That's exactly what Percival is doing right now. There's still some burrowed links inside of the main base. Interestingly enough, there's no missile turret apparently able to detect them, so it's just barely out of range here. New engineering bays are coming up too. He did finish the 2-2 research. Wait, did he lose the Spire? Wait, what? What happened to the Spire? Okay, I'm going way back. Ah, that medevac drop from earlier. Ah, that's what happened. So while this push was going on over here, the medevac drop decided to sneak around the site and kill both the Baneling nest as well as the Spire. I completely missed it. I was trying to figure out, and I think Rogue was doing the same thing. I was trying to figure out if those mutas were going to fly into a bunch of burrowed Widow Mines, or if maybe like the Thors were going to be able to kill literally all of them. But that was actually quite a cute play there from Percival. I think only just now is when Rogue realized everything that he lost. Baneling Nest was already remade, though. I would say that does have a higher priority than the Spire. That actually makes this game kind of difficult now, because if Rogue could continuously make mutas here, life would actually be quite tricky. But now he's thinking about making a transition towards, well, an infestation pit, maybe hive tech, all the rest of it. I think Percival can chill. Again, this is a problem, though. These Zerglings that are burrowed in the main base really need to be taken care of, and now he realizes where they came from. Does start up a missile turret here for detection. Little drop here on the left. Okay, not bad. Baneling's not really able to achieve too much. Widowmine here as well in the far bottom right. I mean, Rogue is only on 4 bases. I think if Percival can max out with 3-3 and just get 200 supply worth of units, he has a very real opportunity to go across the map and go for a killer play. Like, go for a, well, game-winning move. Rogue is not yet in a position to go into, say, for example, Ultralisks. He's not really in a position to get Adrenal Glands going nice and early. This is a good position right now for the Terran player if it wasn't for all of those SCVs that he lost to the counterattack. Muta numbers are quite big. There's 21 of them now, and they do have the +1 upgrade. The +2, of course, did end up getting denied. He's mostly just trying to slow this down. Now, this could be really big. Okay. Denying the +3 infantry weapons completely takes the wind out of the sails of Percival. We do have some Thors waiting on the edge. That's nice. But any attack here that Percival could go for effectively hinges on the +3/+3. So the fact that Rogue just sniped the one that happened to have that upgrade in it, and obviously also the fact that Percival remade the engineering bay in a location that he deemed to be very safe, but turned out to be a bit of a disaster. Yeah, that's unfortunate. What about the Baneling rollby over here? It's very close. Okay. Planetary Fortress will stay alive. Now, though, with that upgrade tonight, yes, I do believe there's time for this. Ultralisk Cavern together with Adrenal Glands, not a bad move. If we can actually get the Ultras out, fully upgraded that is, they are going to hit very hard. But Zerg also, look at these upgrades right now on the production tab. He is investing thousands of minerals and gas into upgrades that aren't going to be done yet for like another minute or two. Okay. Thor still controlling the perimeter. Engineering Bane number 5 is going to eventually, I believe, finish up this upgrade. Mutas once more going around the site. Widow Mines would have been really good to have hidden maybe behind the planetary fortress. What about the push over here on Creep though? Percival willing to dive pretty deep. He hopes to engage before Zerg finishes up all of those hive-tech upgrades. And he does manage to achieve that, but there's a lot of fires that need to be put out at the same time. Zergling run-bys, mutas are flying everywhere. It looks like the reinforcing swarm has showed up. He did not quite kill the hatchery there in time. 34 additional workers go down, and I'm starting to get deja vu from what happened earlier on in this particular game. Percival moves out, and Rogue is like, great, I'll move into your base instead. We can just swap homes. Okay. The clock is ticking, though. +3/+3 and Ultralisks are fully upgraded in about a minute. That is a significant power spike right here for the Zerg. Percival not really in a position to go Ghosts, not really in a position to go Liberators, and that's where those Ultras are so good. Ultras, in general, do have pretty strong counters, but now they're out. And Rogue has managed to get to this point in one of the most convoluted ways possible. But he's arrived. Destination before journey, as they always say, right? Don't worry about the road. Just think about your goals. Never worry. Okay, no, that's actually the worst bit of advice. Hold up. Now, Rogue has arrived, though, at this ultimate ground Zerg army. So, how in the world does Percival counter this? I think he's just about to be overwhelmed. He's going to see the Ultras now for the very first time, and I don't think he will be all too happy about it. These units, of course, from the Terran are well upgraded, but they're not yet... Well, now they finished up the +3 infantry weapons, but they're not yet able to really contest with this. Really, the only option at this point that Percival has is just more Marauders, but I don't think Marauders are going to cut it. Rogue, playing the game in the most rogue-like way. It's a bit of a tongue twister. Try and say that 3 times fast. Rogue-like way, rogue-like... And it's not easy. I'm not going to even attempt it. Planetary will get blown up eventually now, I think? Okay, maybe not. We just don't even care about that. Instead, he's moving in as well on the orbital command on the right. Valiant effort right here from Percival. I think he got extremely close multiple times. But Rogue is a little bit too strong here in the first game of the series. Yeah. These Ultras really sealing the deal. Now, there is still a pretty significant Terran army. 64 supply in total for the units alone. I've got a feeling, though, that Rogue can effectively keep attacking and then also defend everything with the 9 reinforcing Ultras that are popping out of the cocoons right now. Planetary in the top left finally falls. That took a little while. Mutas are going to be able to chase down whatever they need to, right? These medevacs are not likely to ever go home. There is a new command center available. Percival does not want to go down without a fight. But I've got a feeling that it will be the end for the SCVs and then likely also the orbital commander. Not even the orbital, the command center itself. Ultras swoop in around the site. And I think all that Percival can do now is type GG. Next up, we find ourselves on Maganatha. Let's see. A massive map. I don't know if that really benefits Percival much. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Rogue just does the same thing again. It'll be very funny, but I feel like Mutaling-bane is better on the larger maps. And Maganatha is considered to be the biggest map in the current map pool. So I feel like this map at the very least is better for Mutaling-bane than the previous one. Let's see. I don't think Percival played poorly, though. Like, across the board. Okay, let's talk about it. What exactly did he do? Oh, what are we doing? What exactly did he do wrong, right? So he pushed across the map and he was like, haha, I've got this amazing army to fight your bases with. And then Rogue was like, lol, I'll just counterattack instead and never even worry about your army. So the best defense there, as per usual, is to go on the offense. And that's where muta-ling-bane is so scary, because it's such a mobile force. If you go in for the counterattack, Terrans will oftentimes feel like they can either go for the all-in themselves and basically stim onto creep and hope for the best, or they go back home. And honestly, usually it's that second option, because pushing onto creep, especially against like a Zerg player that has Banelings, that already showed off Burrow, it's extremely difficult. You basically run in and, I don't know, close your eyes and hope Raynor catches the wheel for you, because it's just not... It's not easy, right? It's not easy. There could always be Banelings. Like, in a Terran's mind, the entire world is burrowed Banelings, okay? And you have to scan every step of the way. Even though it's pretty uncommon for Zerg to actually have burrowed Banelings on creep in their bases, especially when they're going for a Mutalisk opener and they're doing a Mutalisk counterattack. In the mind of a Terran, the whole floor is always lava. So usually they will go back home. And that's kind of what happened in the previous game. Percival decided to go back home twice, and every time Rogue just destroyed his economy. But despite all of that, though, he was still actually in a competitive game. Like, he actually still, yeah, was in a good enough position to potentially still draw it all the way back, even in the, well, the very late stages of that match. So let's see what happens here on Maganatha. We haven't yet had Zergling speed start up. I'm assuming we're going to see that right now. Nope. We don't yet have a third hatchery either, though. So it's very much so looking like the previous game again. He's just about to finish up 2 queens again, which means that a lair is now a possibility as soon as Brenda over here pops out. Yeah, it's a 2-base lair. It's a 2-base lair. Gas Geyser timing, by the way, for those of you curious, maybe you're looking at this and you would like to copy it yourself as well. Generally speaking, I think the biggest mistake that Zerg players make when they try to play Mutas in 2025, and especially below like Grandmaster League, is taking the gases too quickly. Usual rule of thumb is to saturate the full mineral line first and then add on the gases. So effectively the rule here that Rogue is following is he's timing his gases not based on like a clock, not based on like a total amount of supply that he's got, but he's making the gases here as soon as he hits full saturation on the mineral line, and then a little bit more usually. So say you have like 18 workers mining or so in the natural, that would be a good point to take the gases over there. And that's actually for like all races a pretty good general rule of thumb. If you're not sure exactly when to take gases, saturate full minerals first. So make sure that at the very least it says 16 out of 16 over there, and then when you arrive at that point, keep making workers, but then you start up the gas geysers. Be it extractors, assimilators, whatever, refineries. It's very common to play something like this with mutas and then actually have too much gas. Because mutas are 100 minerals, 100 gas each. It feels a little bit weird to have too much gas. But I think it's an overcorrection. I think most players will try playing mutas at some point in time and they're like, dang it, I have 10,000 minerals and 0 gas. Like, I can't make any of them. And then the next game you play, ooh, oh, nice attempt right there with the Reaper Grenade. He was hoping that the queens would be booped around and the Hellions would be able to drive in. Rogue anticipating the movement, though. But yeah, I think in the next game you have a bit of an overcorrection where the gases are taken way too quickly. All right. Well, it's a Spire again. Rogue is erecting one right now in the natural. And the Hellions, I mean, they're trying to get a glimpse. But he doesn't see anything yet. Then again, though, the previous game was a pretty significant indicator, right? It could still technically be some sort of like, I don't know, Nidus all-in or some cheeky little play. He now sees the timing of the 4th hatch. That could mean 2 things. Either Zerg sucks at macro. Okay, he scans. Sees the fully erected structure, so that's nice. It could either be like a Zerg with bad macro or it's Muta play, like some sort of macro follow-up, and usually that would be Mutas. Baneling Nest on the back of this as well. Single Evo chamber, going for the armor research, so Ultras will probably be way off into the future. A plan at least for Rogue. Okay, let's see if Percival learned from the previous game. Huh. Contamination on the starport. I don't think Percival really cares, but it's a cool looking play. Ooh, Hellions drive in. Keep in mind, in the previous game, these Hellions actually achieved quite a lot. 10 drones again, man. That's not bad. Percival actually getting some extreme value with units that really are just about to fall off. Okay. Don't be too greedy on the Stimpaks. Friends don't let friends use Stimpaks. Especially when there's no medics nearby. Okay. I'm assuming the Medivacs, by the way, have medics inside of them, right? Baneling Robi being set up. There's probably Marines out there in the universe of StarCraft that like purposely use Stimpaks just so they can see their favorite medic again. I feel like that's lore accurate. Okay. Very ambitious here without speed. I don't really like that. We should have waited until Centrifugal Hooks was done. Rogue was like, hey, what about I donate Banelings for you? It's almost a bit disrespectful. No, don't use Stimpaks, kids. It's bad for you. Like, sure, it lets you run really fast, and that's cool and all. But is it really worth it, right? Because the average Marine probably has a lifespan of about 2 minutes. Which is, you know, you can aspire to more than that. Mutas just trying to hit whatever they can. First of all, forced to do a bit of a split attack, and yeah, Banelings are going to make that pretty easy, although that wouldn't mind getting a good bit of value. Here we go again, though. SCV run by, or Zergling run by, towards those SCVs. 8 of them only this time around. Not bad. So far, the damage has been limited. But I'm still not calling this a clean defense here for Percival at all. Oh, Mutas actually decide to fight there. Oh, fight the Marines here. That's kind of crazy. +2/+2 is already done. He starts up the +3/+3 right now. Very ambitious, considering the engineering bay is literally burning down. Zergling run by attempted again. SCVs are now repairing the NG bays, and for protection, a missile turret will be put right next to it. 4th command center is being secured, and even though all of this is a little bit messy, I think Percival is okay. Yep, he finds another group of Banelings here. He has 69 workers. It's about the best case scenario. He did lose quite a few units, though. I feel like at least 10 of those Marines probably could have been saved if I'm really being critical. The problem is this is only the beginning of the conflict, right? Rogue is going to double down here for sure. Planetary Fortress is now done. Zerglings alone are likely not going to be enough, though. But what about the Mutas joining in? No, not going to happen. A couple of Lings running around here, too. Honestly, Mutaling-bane in general is one giant skill check. Like, I feel like if you do this against Clem, it's unlikely to work, but it's still extremely difficult to hold up. Mass repair over here on a missile turret is nice and all. The problem is you have to constantly restart it, because those SCVs are not going to just keep repairing. Push as well in the meantime on the other side of the map, drops them off in a little Reaper ledge. Honestly, clever strategy choice here as well from Rogue, right? Like, if you think about this, Rogue certainly knows that Percival has been on the up and up lately. So Rogue is like, what about I do a strategy that you probably never play against? Or at least you haven't played against in quite a long time. At least not from somebody actually good at the game. And this is the type of strat that does require some specific strategies, right? It does require some specific planning. Because it's basically, from the Terran's point of view, right? It's basically putting out so many different fires all at the same time. Stuff like, for example, building positioning, which oftentimes doesn't matter that much. You see how the Thor got stuck in the main base? A lot of those little plays suddenly do matter. Yeah, all things considered, it's not like he's in a terrible spot here, though, because he's got 4 bases done. His economy has got, well, some room for improvement, let's say. But it's not like Rogue is in a phenomenal position either. I mean, there's a reason Mutaling-bane is not a popular strat. It's because it's not particularly good at the absolute highest level. There's just better alternatives out there. And this is a style that Terran can certainly counter. Again, supply depot is not raised in time. Zerglings going to the main base. Terran army, though, thinking about moving in over here. Now, there's a lot of Banelings waiting. 36 of them total, or in total on the map, and that was a little bit too much. Zerglings, in the meantime, working away at whatever. If this attack actually would have been able to kill the hatch, I would not have minded the spot very much here anymore for Percival, and maybe he can still get the job done. Zergling run by again, though, into the natural, into the main. Looks like indeed the hatchery does fall, but now the Mutas have come back home too, and I feel like the Thors are likely not gonna be able to, well, see that sweet main base ever again. They will have to say their factory goodbye. Terran army in the meantime also up north, though. Loads of SCVs are dropping in the meantime on the other side of the map. The big contrast, though, between this and the previous game is that, again, Percival is taking a lot of damage at home, but he's also actually dealing damage on the other side of the map. Rather than him just committing to the retreat, he's actually sniped 2 bases there. And Rogue, I mean, he's got most of his Zerg units still around. There's still a lot of drones, but he doesn't have a whole lot of mining for them. So, despite having, well, like 50% more workers than the opponent, his economy really isn't in that phenomenal of a position. Percival, in the meantime, can rebuild his economy, 4 workers at a time. Yeah, manageable. Honestly, manageable. Now, are we going into a hive anytime soon, Rogue? Because he did make an infestation pit. I think maybe that was the plan, but because of Percival's successful attacks, he's decided to not make that decision, at the very least not yet. Oh, Marines hoping to go around the side. Hoping to maybe grab some of those Mutalisks for free. Not getting lucky so far, but always testing the waters. I like it. Okay. The hive does start now. So I think the plan is to go into the adrenal glands, to go into the Ultralisk cavern, and to just continuously get those additional upgrades going for the Zerg unit. So 3-3, plus 3 attack as well, obviously a really good choice. Oh, here we go again. Not a lot of creep spread in this section of the map. Good splits right over here. Marauders in the front. Don't mind it whatsoever. Mutas in the meantime are dealing damage, though. Missile turrets are not going to be enough, but the Widow Mines were hiding. Is there enough for the Zerg player to actually clean all of this up? I think so. With those Banelings showing up right now, there might just be a reinforcing group also does show up. In the meantime, we do have those Mutas still going to town and even going after the orbital itself. He does repair it just barely in time. 6 SCVs did die, but a very recoverable amount. And while eventually this Terran army needs to retreat, and they didn't quite set out to, well, they set out to kill the hatchery and they did not quite complete their jobs, I don't think it's the end of the world. These medevacts can be healed back up. Okay. It's so fun, man, to see Mutaling-bane again. I kind of miss this unit composition. It feels almost old school, in a way. Even though mutas haven't really been changed in years and years and years. It is a very powerful style still. Okay, 5th base coming up for Percival. I don't think he ever got there in the previous match. Here's the big problem, though. Ultralisks. Adrenal glands. We'll probably see 3-3 start up. Orbital Command, by the way, is being repaired, but very slowly. And I've got a feeling the Mutas, yep, can just kill it. Percival getting a little bit greedy. What about the attack over here, though? Can he strike back? No, go! Go, 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 go! The all army hotkeyed. Panic over at the 3rd. Panic over at the 4th as well of the Zerg. He does end up killing the hatch. Zergling run by over here, though, can be dangerous. You can't just jump in here with a bunch of reinforcing Marines and a Thor. That Thor is somehow, some way stuck. What are you doing, Thor? Stop wearing your ice skates. We talked about this. In the meantime, the Marines are going in. The Marines are going deep into the natural. All right, well, the Thor is no longer stuck because it's dead. You can't be stuck when you're dead. That is a video I've not yet seen. Anyways, Marines do get dropped off on the little ledge here, much like earlier. It's actually kind of a nice position because the Queens are struggling. Yeah, the Queens alone are not going to be enough. What about the Mutas, though? Well, they are busy killing another orbital command. So much damage all over the map. But Percival is being a little bit more committed this time around. I don't know if the end result of the game is going to matter much. But he's certainly playing this better than he did in the previous game, right? Like, he's certainly made adjustments here that I do like across the board. Planetary Fortress, though, falls, and that is now the third command center that those mutas have killed. Oh, wow. Somehow, some way, Big Daddy Thor over here is hitting the side of the wall, and he's damaging, the hatchery. It's one of the top 10 things that science can't explain. Well, here's the mutas, spoiling the party. Jeez. You guys weren't even invited. Guess why you weren't invited? It's because you always spoil everything. Okay. As the dust settles, we've got 43 drones versus 32 SCVs. Both players have an absolutely awful economy. Normally, though, that's pretty good for Terran because mules, but obviously he lost at least 2 orbital commands, maybe even 3. Yeah, 3 orbitals have gone down. And if it's up to these mutas, there's going to be a 4th. Ay. They decide to retarget to the SCVs instead. Rogue getting a little bit overly greedy. Thor is here. Trying his best. There is a Widow Mine here as well in the corner of the main, but those red lines are pretty easy to spot these days. They did, of course, make the line a little bit thicker, right? On the Mutalisk or on the Widow Mine targeting. There we go. Yeah, with this many mutas, you can just absolutely destroy everything. And if the army gets a little bit too tough to handle, you just fly away. Fastest unit over here in the game for certain. Oh, Widow Mine? Okay. 2 of them clumped up together. Obviously, they're going to be on idle now. Rogue immediately gets revenge. He's lost 36 mutas in total in his game, but it's honestly not that much. I mean, 31 Widow Mines have died. Widow Mines, believe it or not free. At this point, he's got 31 mutas as well. And keep in mind, Ultralisks are still a possibility. He did make the cavern. He didn't get the upgrades going, but wouldn't be surprised if he gets there at some point. And this fight over here, though, is no good for Percival. It's because it's only half of his army. What about the other half? Well, it's right over here. Banelings rolling into Marauders. Extremely expensive trade. But Rogue does keep it alive. Okay. More mutas. Looks like we're going to be flying a command center. No, we're building a command center. No, it's flying. Okay, I was going to say, that'd be crazy. We are flying a command center that was built next to the planetary fortress over here, and then a new one is going to be added into the mix as well. Oh. Burrowed banelings. Now that is something that can very quick... Oh! Okay, never mind. I was going to say that can change the tide of battle. But that Widow Mine latched onto a Zergling, and a Zergling walked on top of the Banelings. Well, unlucky. Muta's going in. 31 mutas. I don't know if he's getting there on purpose, but I feel like every time I've opened the units tab, he seems to have exactly 31 mutas. Maybe 31 is some magic number that I don't quite know. But maybe, I mean, maybe it's exactly 5 volleys of 31 mutas with the +2 air weapons to kill a command center or something. I don't know. Percival's successfully slowing this game down a bunch, though, which I do think is smart. Ooh, wow. Those Widow Mines were set there for the Mutalisks. Instead, they ended up dealing friendly fire to the SCVs. Oh, okay. Man, we're always one detonation away. Oh, from absolute disaster. This is one of those weird moments. Let me actually back up a little bit. So this Widowmine over here dies and then still deals damage from the grave. So this is one of the weird... Let me try and slow it down a little bit. This Widowmine, it's dead. But it's already, according to the game, fired the missile, which has a slower animation. It's one of the weird little intricacies of the Widowmine. I've never really liked that too much, to be honest. Sometimes it catches you off guard with a shot from the grave. Anyway. The Muta numbers are still big, right? And even though 45 of them have gone down, he is replenishing them slowly but surely. It's a difficult call to make right now, though, for both players. Like, how much do you want to commit to economy? Percival not making SCVs, but he's adding on command centers like he's never gonna run out. Oh, free Thor over here. You'd never look a gift Thor in the mouth, as we all know. Widowmine's still set up over here too, but they're currently on idle. There's a lot of, well, missile turrets as well. Rogue has not made a worker in quite a long time. Like, sitting 42 workers deep at 22 minutes of in-game time is usually considered to be atrocious. But Rogue does have a massive army. It's just also the type of army that needs to be replaced very quickly. Like, this is not an army that is meant to win the game. It's an army that's meant to fight and then instantly replenish, right? So how do you manage this right now here as Rogue when you only have 41 drones? Missile turrets being made. Fighting on top of a planetary fortress seems dangerous, but he's thinking about doing it anyways. Setting off the Widowmine so the planetary fortress is vulnerable to the Mutas. Baneling's going in as well. Are we gonna roll them into the PF? I mean, it's a little risky. Planetary fortress at this point is gone. 10 SCVs have gone down as well. Percival's supply count, though, is dropping rapidly. And GG does get cold. In one of the scrappiest series of ZVT that I have seen in a while, it is Rogue who obtains the victory 2-0. But man, did he have to fight for that one. That was a fun series. GG's.